Hey, welcome to another episode. I'm that car guy, Tim, and today we're off to Bruderheim to take a look at Jeff's 1976 Bricklin SV-1.
I came to acquire it in Ontario, that's where I'm originally from. I saw it online on Kijiji and met the owner there and fell in love with the car and bought it.
Bricklin, built from 1974 to late 75, it was the Corvette's closest competition. Often mistaken for a DeLorean, it was the brainchild of American entrepreneur Malcolm Bricklin.
Those who don't know Malcolm Bricklin was a U.S. businessman that brought Subaru to North America in 1968. When Subaru bought his stock out, he developed this car.
The SV-1, or Safety Vehicle First Edition, was built for safety first and sportiness second. It touted 90-pound gull-wing doors that, when opened, they didn't protrude into traffic, a four-sided perimeter box frame that incorporated a roll cage, and bumpers that exceeded federal government standards for the time.
So they figured that they would make a very strong, durable, indestructible car for safety reasons. So at the time they thought that because it's such a hard shell around it, the human occupancy inside there is very, very well protected due to the traditional aspect of other cars. However, safety doesn't really work that way in crash testing. There are a lot of variables at play, and building a very super strong structure will have disadvantages to the human body of the forces that wouldn't be able to be tolerated.
Available in just 5 colors that were deemed safety colors by Malcolm Bricklin, the exterior was also unique.
Now, the outer shell is also unique that it's acrylic fused to fiberglass. And in that case, there's no paint on the vehicle. The gel is in the acrylic, and then they fuse it to fiberglass, making it very unique.
Other than that, underneath, it was a typical 70s car.
So traditional brake, suspension, engine, transmission were just what the big three were building. The first year was AMC engine of a AMC 360 V8, 5.9 liter. And then the transmission would have been a Chrysler 727 transmission with a rear axle, a Dana 20 out of a Gremlin. In 1975, AMC was no longer able to give those contracts to build the engines, so they struck a deal with Ford Motor Company, and they put the 5.8 liter Windsor engine in, along with the FMX transmission, which is really a C6 with a cast iron housing.
Most cars at the time featured ashtrays. Malcolm Bricklin's car, however, didn't.
It was more of distracted driving, that this is a sports car. It's designed for sportier driving, and therefore smoking is distracting while you're driving, so you should not partake in that specific activity. So that's why they omitted. That's one story. The other story is that they were so resource poor developing the car, they couldn't design the ashtray or a glove box, so they decided to stick with the safety story.
Facing unemployment rates nearing 25%, New Brunswick Premier Richard Hadfield saw an opportunity.
Bricklin has been and is an advertisement for New Brunswick. As such, it speaks well for our province.
So the New Brunswick government decided that the automobile world would be a very good avenue to get out of fishing and forestry and stuff that has always been plaguing the East Coast with high unemployment rates. He basically said that this project would help them break the mold, diversify their economy, and offer sustainable jobs.
The province sunk $23 million into the company. That's almost $110 million in today's dollar.
Provincial government owns almost 70% of the company. There was never really any major investors. And at the time that the company folded, New Brunswickers had 4% of the whole provincial wealth invested in the car company.
That investment didn't exactly buy New Brunswickers a thriving factory. In 1974, production targets were at 1,000 cars per month. Production for that year totaled just 780. In all, about 2,900 Bricklins were made by the end of 1975. Today, it's estimated that fewer than 1,500 of those survive. In late 1975, the province designated the venture as unviable for future funding, essentially killing Bricklin. Consolidated Motors took over and sold 20 partially assembled Bricklins as 1976 models.